The present perfect is probably the most difficult verb to understand for non-English speakers. So in that video, I'm going to share you the uses as well as some examples with the present perfect. All right, so if we start with the structure in the affirmative form, we always use the auxiliary of the verb have. So we use have, and with he, she, it, we will use has with the S. Good. So the auxiliary have plus the past participle in ed, or the third column for the irregular verbs. All right. So we have achieved all of our objectives this year. Or he has done well in the company so far. They have decided to change the plan. Okay. Now, as for the negative, you will use not between the auxiliary and the past participle, just as we have here. We have not achieved all of our objective this year. He has not done well in the company so far, and they have not decided to change the plan. Great. And as for the last one, for the questions, we will inverse always the auxiliary and the subject. So have we achieved all of our objectives this year? Has he done well in the company so far? And have they decided to change the plan? Good. So now as for the uses, we have three cases in which we can use the present perfect. Good. If we check at the keywords that we can use, so before, already, if I say already, it's because I have already finished something, it's already done. Just, yet, never, once, many times, so far and up to now. So we started something in the past, and so far. So it's something that continues in the present. For, since, recently, lately, etc. So we'll come back in the keywords more deeply in the examples when we go further on. Good. So the three situations in which we can use the present perfect would be first, when we have done something, it's something that could be finished in the past, but the time is not important in the conversation. For example, if I tell you that I have seen a movie before, I probably don't remember when I saw that movie, the moment. I'm just going to talk about, I just want to share that I have seen that movie before. Good. So if you check at number one, the action has happened before now, but there's no specific time, such as yesterday, last week, 2 years ago, etc. If we have a specific time, we will use the simple past. So when we use a simple past, we put the emphasis on the time, on the moment that the action happened. Good. Last weekend, I went to the zoo, or I watched a movie. Last week, I visited my parents. So you put more the emphasis on the time. But present perfect, the time is not important in the conversation. Great. Second situation, so the action started in the past and is not finished yet. Good. So something that I started before, but it continues. If I tell you that so far today, I have worked hard. Good. So far, but I'm still working hard. It's not finished. Okay. So it started before and it continues. And the third one, it's very similar as the second one. So the time reference is in a sentence is not finished. Okay? So if I say today, this week, this year, this month, so the time is not finished. Such as my example, I have worked hard today. The day is not finished. So in English, we assume that the situation can change over the day. Good. Or this week, we have done a great job. Good. If the week is not finished, this week, we have done a great job. Good. We use the present perfect. But if I'm talking about last week, I will say, last week, we did a great job, because last week is the finished time. Great. So we'll go deeply. If we use the present perfect as a non-specific time, good, I can say that I have already eaten lunch. Good. My colleague is coming. He or she asked me, do you want to have lunch with me? And I say, oh, no, sorry. I have already eaten lunch. Good. I've already had lunch today. So my colleague doesn't want to know when, the moment when I ate my lunch. But I'm just giving the information that, well, on my side, it's done. Good. So we're not focusing on the time. Great. Then they have just left the office. Good. It's possible that in North America, you hear they just left the office. So sometimes with just, specifically in American English, people tend to use the simple past because just it's really, well, it's a bit of a controversy. Is it specific time or not? British people would say no, American would say yes. Well, actually, by the book, we should use the present perfect. Good. So just, that means that, well, it's just before now. Good. We have seen a case like that a few times before. Good. So even if it's a few times before, we don't know when. Good. She has not written to the CEO yet. Good. So yet will be used mainly in a negative sentence. Good. If I use the positive sentence, I would prefer already. Good. So she has already written to the CEO. If it's positive, we would use already. But if it's negative, I will use yet. Good. She has not written to the CEO yet. The enterprise has not met the criteria. Before now, we don't know when. You have never been so overwhelmed. And now in questions, have you heard about the new partnership? So have you heard about that before now? So my question is not related to the time. I'm just interested if you have heard about that. Has you ever gone to Spain? Same logic. Have you done the monthly accounting yet? Good. You see that yet could be also used in a question. Yet is used in a negative, not yet, or in a question. Great. And if you look at the graphic here, so present perfect, same thing. That was done before now, no matter the time. So before now. All right. Good. If we go to the second use, so something that started in the past and continues in the present. Good. So we can say since 2000, the government has encouraged sustainable economy. Good. So it's possible to identify a moment in the past, but until today, so the government has encouraged. So we're not fixing exactly a point in the past. Yes, we fixed the beginning, but then after it continues. Good. As if we use the simple past, the action needs to be completely finished. For example, if I use the simple past in that sentence, I would say in 2000, the government encouraged sustainable economy. So only in 2000, the government encouraged. Good. But if it's not finished, it continues, it will be present perfect. All right, we have achieved a lot since the beginning of the year. Same thing, we point a moment at the beginning, but it's not finished. They have known each other for so long. I have not been at my desk for the last 5 hours. She has not talked with him since Monday. Our benefits have not increased for 3 months. Have you seen Tom in the last hour? Have you had any news from Susan since she left the company? Have you heard about him since Tuesday? So these are all examples in which we have a point in the past, but it's not finished, just like you see in the graphic here. Good. Now, I just want to put your attention on for and since. Good. Because they can mean the same thing, but the uses are different. Good. So you will use for the length, the duration of time. Good. We'll say something like for 3 days, for 2 hours, for 5 weeks, for 6 years, for a long time, for a few days. So you focus on the length. Good. If you use since, you will use since plus the beginning. So you will use a specific moment at the beginning. Good. Or a specific action that happened in the past. Great. So we can say since Friday, since 5 o'clock, since November 3rd, since last year, since yesterday, or since I came. It's possible that I use a specific action and my action will be in the simple past. Why? Because since is a specific moment, right? So since I came, I have listened to the teacher, for example. Good. So since will come with the simple past just after, but the other part of the sentence will be in the present perfect because the other action is not finished. Great. So finally, we use the present perfect when the time reference is not finished. Okay? Such as this week, this month, this year, today, etc. Good. So first example, we have done so much work this week. The week is not finished. I have drunk 3 cups of coffee this morning. Good. If it's still morning, I will use the present perfect because the morning is not finished. Good. But if we are in the afternoon or in the evening, morning is finished. So we'll change the verb tense for the simple past. So I would say I drank 3 cups of coffee this morning. If this morning is finished. You see the difference? All right. My computer has crashed a lot lately. We have not dealt with any complaint so far. Good. So in so far, we focused on the fact that, yes, it started before, but so far, so up till now in the present. Great. We have had so many customers today. Today, the day is not finished. They have not cut down on expenses recently. Okay? So recently includes today. Has he come to the plant often this month? What have you done so far? And have you finished the monthly accounting? Great. Now we will compare present perfect versus the simple past, right? So the present perfect, we focus on facts. We focus on what we have done. As the simple past, we focus on the time and the action needs to be finished, right? So if we compare a few examples, I have already checked in. If I say that, so I'm traveling with a friend and I say, oh, I have already checked in, so don't bother, we can go directly to the hotel room. Good. The check-in has been done, right? But on the other side, if you check on the right side, I checked in yesterday. Good. So I want to specify I have a problem with my bill or whatever at the front desk of a hotel, for example, and I want to specify that yesterday I checked in. So looked into your computer, you will see that yesterday I checked in. Good. So these would be 2 different situations. Right. Now we have ordered a lot of parts since Monday. So since Monday, we have ordered a lot of parts. Good. So that means that we might have to order more. Good. The time here since Monday is not finished. So it's still open. Maybe it's not finished. We might need more parts. But if we check on the other side, we ordered a lot of parts on Monday. So in that case, we put the attention more on the fact that it's finished. We ordered a lot of parts on Monday. So we should have enough for the week. The conversation is closed in that case. It's done. Well, It was done on Monday. It's finished. We don't talk about it anymore, right? Now the boss has expected a lot from us recently. Good. He has expected a lot from us recently. That still includes today. Good. So we need to be careful. We need to be aware of our job, right? But if we say the boss expected a lot from us during the project, we put more the emphasis on the project. So during that time, so in that conversation, we understand that the project is finished. During that time, the boss was very demanding. He or she expected a lot from us at that moment, right? But recently, he or she has expected a lot from us. That includes today, so we are still in there. Great. All right, so that was it about the present perfect.